All right, so you might be like me, being very cautious about what about all this cryptocurrency, blockchain, real estate stuff. I mean, for me, I was really resistant to it. I thought the whole thing's kind of a scam. And I even did some videos about why I thought, it was all going to crash, particularly on the crypto side. But I really didn't realize that with crypto, the technology below cryptocurrency is called blockchain. And those are different things. Bitcoin is not blockchain. Bitcoin uses blockchain. So the blockchain technology is something that we're seeing implications for within real estate. And so there's a lot of inefficiencies. In a lot of ways, the real estate market is in the Stone Age, right? They're pushing paper here and there. If you've ever closed on a deal and they'll send a notary to your house and they've got to make sure it's you, and versus having a more secure way to be able to transfer ownership through blockchain technology. So that's kind of what we're seeing. It might do away with things like title insurance or other sorts of things. And so there's a lot changing in this world where it doesn't really require a third-party verification to be able to transfer assets. So there are people that are doing it. It's happening. And we're going to get into why I think it's very interesting. I was able to MC this awesome event in Austin called the Blockchain and Real Estate Summit, which was amazing. And basically was there with 100 fund managers. We're going to jump in and talk about why it has implication for syndications, for real estate, for buying property, investment property, and we're going to go over 3 easy steps and share a cool quote for you at the end. All right, so the first thing is that blockchain is going to simplify real estate. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about transactions, meaning that it could be much easier to buy and sell a property. Obviously, there are risks with that, right? If I sell a property to you and all of a sudden I look on my phone, I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my property? Obviously, there's going to be different safeguards that are going to be in place, but the technology behind it is a secure public way where, I'm not the expert on how blockchain works, but it's something that has a lot of implications, particularly when it comes to owning assets and being able to transfer assets, be able to do different things with them. So I want to talk a little bit about just syndications, what that looks like. So if you think about the assets or the things that we invest in that have higher valuations, like stocks or bonds or other things, and whenever something is liquid, meaning you can just go and you can sell it any day you want, any business day you want, there's a high premium given to liquidity. And you see this in private companies. If I owned a gas station on the corner, it might trade for 5 times earnings. But the same gas station or a group of gas stations that's traded online might go for 20 or 30 times earnings, right? So there's a huge, premium given to being able to have liquidity. And so, sometimes the valuations could potentially be higher than the real estate itself. So I think that's something to really consider. And let's talk for a minute about syndications and blockchain, right? So I was at this event, was able to MC. My friend Michael Flight asked me, he's considered the godfather of blockchain real estate. And so you can see here, 100 fund managers were learning how to tokenize syndications. And why would you want to do that? And what does tokenize even mean? Well, it means basically to take a syndication and just kind of like we similarly do, working into shares, but to have it to where instead of buying a share of the company, we buy a tokenized share. That basically means that it's more tradable. So the biggest benefit that I really saw is that it provides liquidity. Then instead of being in for 5 to 10 years or 4 years or whatever much time for a syndication, and you may have been in some deals where they lasted longer than you wanted them to. I've heard stories of them lasting a super long time, but basically you can't always sell when you want to sell. Or if you had to sell, you have to sell at a significant discount and try to find somebody to take the spot, and it's very difficult. With tokenized shares, you can sell potentially instantly. So there's some ways to do this. We're looking on different ways to be able to buy and sell, but it will make it much easier to get in and get out. And again, it just is something that would allow people, let's say I only want to stay in for 2 years for the value add portion of a syndication, I could potentially sell later at that point and be able to get out. So one example of this that I love, there's this entrepreneur in Austin, Texas named Peter Rex, has a number of companies. We've used his property management company before called ResProp. He's got this company called OwnProp, and in $50 chunks, you can buy, at least right now, a property such as this one in Austin, Texas. I bought, I think, $100 of this, a couple units, $100 of this particular value add deal in Austin, right? So there are ways that you can get in just for a small amount. It was really simple. I went and I uploaded my accredited investor letter, and it was approved 10 minutes later. And then I got it, and it was just click, put your information in, and then you buy it. And so it was really easy to do it. Referred a couple friends. I don't have any incentive to do that except, I just think it was kind of cool to be like, oh, now I own some tokenized property. So there are some challenges with it. They're still figuring out, what if I get into hundreds of different properties or 100 different properties and I've got a K1 for every single property? Obviously that's a challenge, but the ability to buy and sell is very convenient. So really, you know, one thing I try to look at with trends like this, because I look at this like a trend that's coming, it's here, it's on its way, is how do you take advantage of this, right? What are the things, either as an investor or as a fund operator, how can you take advantage of this blockchain and real estate coming together? Well, I can think a few things here. One is that, you know, again, we talked about liquidity. That, you know, if you're able to do it, you know, liquidity means that, you know, valuations can go higher. So by you owning some tokenized real estate, potentially just by you being in it, could potentially mean that it's worth more. An example of this, I have a friend who sold a medical practice recently, you know, at around 8 times earnings. And so, you know, wherever the earnings were, it was about 8 times, a little over 8 times, you know, what the earnings were. Well, the group that bought it is a private equity group that buys a bunch of these type of practices, puts them together, is trying to sell them more to larger firms for 20 to 30 times earnings, right? So there's an advantage to see really where the value is being created and get behind that. So in this type of thing too, being in a tokenized property or being one that sets one up, it may draw more people to that property, and because it's more liquid, it could actually increase valuation. So it's something to be aware of, to be interested in, but it really is a benefit of learning about this. Maybe try, like I did, just to go buy a small amount in something like Own Prop or some other tokenized thing, and just try it out for yourself and see how it works. You might find it's very interesting. I'm going to look into this for myself in the future about tokenizing any sort of real estate investments to see what it looks like. So I want to share this quote with you, which I think is really interesting. It says, this is from Fred Erlin. It says, everything will be tokenized and connected to a blockchain one day. So again, that's his opinion, saying that, you know, everything that we own could potentially be on the blockchain anyway. So the sooner, you know, I don't call myself a super innovator, but there's this idea of being an early adopter where things come around, and I think it's important that we're open to new ideas, particularly in technology, as they change things such as real estate. There's a lot of room for disruption, making things more efficient. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, my friend Courtney Moeller and I did an interview about this, about blockchain and real estate. Courtney's super knowledgeable. You can check out that interview up here. I think if you enjoyed this, you'll really like that. And if you haven't joined our investment club, we're doing some awesome deals. We're doing deals like this apartment behind me. We're doing ATM machine fund deals. We're doing different things in the alternative asset space. So I'd love to get you on our deal list. We'll set up a call with you, start a relationship, be able to share about our upcoming deals with you. So thanks for taking the time to educate yourself. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.